evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to One Hub Racing Season 29, and this is the pre-season race around Japan for the P1 tier. We've seen all the other tiers do their thing, and we get to see the best of the best race to have a little bit of a warm-up ahead of round one next week. My name is Jess Bull, and joining me for the whole season, like we did last season, we got Jamie. Jamie, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing very well. I'm looking forward to this and brand new season, brand new cars, a brand new team, and yeah, this should be good to watch. And obviously we've got a few new drivers, got a few return drivers. A lot of the guys fighting for the title last season are back for this season, so I think it should be another classic. Obviously, last season went right down to the wire with 2 extra races this season. There could be a possibility it may happen yet again.
Yes, remember last season it was a very last round in Las Vegas. It was between Alex and Marco. It went down to the wire. Of course, Marco has always been the bridesmaid, never the bride, but it was Alex that took his first ever One Hub Racing title at the P1 tier, and he's looking to defend his crown. I believe he's not here tonight, but hopefully he'll be here next week. Speaking of lineups, we'll have a look at the lineups before we get into qualifying to see who's racing where. So we have got Dave and Gabe in the McLaren. We have last season's Constructors Champions, Mertzi and Marco in the Mercedes. Mertzi, I believe, was top in qualifying week. We have 2 ERT drivers of Arnold and Owen White in the Ferrari. We have Craigie and Alex in the Ferrari. That's going to be very, very quick. We have Alexis and Charlotte in the Williams. We've got Aspect in the Racing Bull. We've got Samster and Matt in the Aston Martin. We've got Lukey in the Haas. Kieran in the Audi. Josh Matter in the Alpine, and for the very first time in One Hub Racing history, we have people racing in the Cadillac, and they'll be adding stats to that database. Will be Senna and J. Cole, both ERT drivers. So we got 15 minutes left on the clock. We got some really competitive drivers out there, including our reigning Constructors Champions, Craigie, of course, and Alex. Those 4 drivers, I would say, want to keep an eye on this season.
Yeah, and I think it's great they're both in the same team. So I think that's going to be our drivers and constructors fight. And it'll be fantastic because them guys were dominating last season. And Craigie and Alex were a last-minute pairing. They weren't actually agreed teammates to, but literally right up to the deadline. So they got that in, and I think the Mercedes team, a few hearts may have been broken when that news got leaked. But yeah, it's great to see some competitive teams. Obviously, we've got 2, Samson and Matt, returning after a long time away. They're obviously 2 really good friends. They've been teammates in the past before in these one-up tiers. And also we've got Alexis and Charlotte, 2 new drivers. It's great to see how they get on. And Arnard and Owen Wyatt, who were great friends. And Dave and Gabe. I think Dave was quite impressive last season. Obviously, he got a podium, got some really good results. The McLaren team may be a possible outside contender for a fight for the Constructors' Championship.
Of course, we only have 10 drivers tonight, but of course, pre-season race, not mandatory, but of course they had to tell us if they couldn't make it tonight. So hopefully a lot of the drivers did sign out and not no show on us. But we do have some lap times on the board already. But interestingly, a lot of our championship contenders from last season not here, apart from Mert. But let's have a go on board with Kieran, who for the first time he's going to be on the PC. Never mind, he's doing a little bit of weaving, so he's going to be on his out lap. So we got Dave, by the way, that's come across the line in P1. Dave, I think, he's come on lead from bounds last season. He's been a bit inconsistent at times towards the first half when he joined, where he was very unlucky in DNF. But there's been some great races where he just outshone quite a lot of people and was able to be consistent. So with, of course, being a brand new game with battery management going to be very key, especially around this circuit, but him to do a 28.5 right off the bat, that is pretty decent for the McLaren driver.
Yeah, he should be very happy with that. That is a good banker to put in there. And also Josh as well, obviously, who was racing in the P2 tier last season, promoted to P1 tier. I think he should be very happy with that 28.7. And obviously, Josh is a guy who won in the P3 tier, and he admitted himself he was a bit too... and then he moved up to P2 after a bit of a break, and he did really well in P2, and it's great to see Josh developing now into a top tier driver. I think Josh, he could be a guy fighting for them podiums as well this season, as a lot of these guys will be. So yeah, it's great to see Josh up there as well, and he is really coming on strong as a One Hub Racing driver.
Yeah, I think Josh is definitely, I think, the one who's improved, come on a bit more leaps and bounds compared to other drivers. So honestly, we're really happy for him, for how he's done. We've got Arnell, by the way, who's going to come up towards the line to finish his lap time. I seem to be dropping frames a little bit, so I do apologise. I might have to restart the stream in just a minute. But Arnell, by the way, goes up to the line with a 29.1 for him. So he has done a few laps on those soft compounder tyres. We haven't found one who's finished a lap yet, because a lot of people are going into the pits. Obviously, you've done a race around here. Of course, you did pretty well. How important on this game do you think battery management is?
Well, it's imperative, because it is imperative, because you've got to really. This track is also one of the worst ones for it, because there's not many regen opportunities, so you've got to really manage it very well. And in my race today, I had a few moments where I was down to 0%, and I've not quite mastered it yet, especially in qualifying. My qualifying lap was quite a disappointing one, but the race performance seemed a little bit better, and yeah. It's so weird. Like, you're passing places you'd never be able to pass before because of the battery. So these drivers, they've got to be wary. You've got to look in the mirrors a bit more than you're probably used to back in the day. And also, there's less downforce in these cars. So the cars have got a lot less grip. So there'll be you see a few more slides, I think, especially in sector 1. So the cars are not as planted as the ground effect era cars where we had from 22 to 25.
Yeah, I have to turn my telemetry off, because I think that's what's causing the things to go quite crazy. So hopefully that will fix very soon. Here comes Samster, by the way. Like Jamie was saying, returning driver to One Hub Racing after many seasons off. Of course, he was part of the management team many moons ago. When I first started in the management team in One Hub Racing, he was in there. Of course, he hosted quite a few lobbies as well. He was the one who I kind of prodded when I was doing top tier commentary back in the day. I remember when I was alternating commentary as well between quite a few people, quite a few legends actually. So Samster is someone where I think could be very good. Yeah, stream is glitching. We do apologise. Hopefully we can get it fixed after quali. But Samster, he's about to start his lap. Let's see if we could go on board with the Aston Martin driver as he makes his way towards turn one, number 1 very soon. So up through the gears then, burning a bit of the boost until you get to turn 1. Make sure you put it on none before turn number 2. Then late on the brakes, a bit of lifting as well. You could use none on the S's to gain quite a bit of traction, which he does seem to be doing quite well. He flicks a bit of the curb as well. Of course, you have to save quite a lot of battery around this track, because if you use hot lap at all around this track, you're going to run out of battery, and that's going to be it. And you of course got the overtaking mode as well, where we're going to see people, if they're within 1 second of the car ahead, that's going to gain, I think, an extra I can't remember how many megajoules of energy, but anyway, Samster is going to make his way towards the hairpin, and again doing a little bit of lifting there. He's got about 60% of battery to use. It's the Aston Martin driver. We've got Mert, by the way, who is retired from the session, which is not ideal if you are the Mercedes driver of Mert. I think Samster's backed out. Yeah, Samster's backed out of it, unfortunately. So that's his lap done, unfortunately, for him. So that's going to be over. His teammate, though, is on a lap time. Of course, Matt is back as well. Let's pick up on his lap. He's got a little bit less battery compared to what we saw Samster do earlier on. Straight line mode on. You can get away with using a lot of overtake there and running down to 0, and you have no problem. And as you can see, giving a little bit of a toe, Samster, but I don't think it was that effective. But he goes up to the Casio triangle. Quite a few drivers were saying to me in the chats that it was a lot easier to save battery compared to other circuits like Austria, for example. He takes the shortest run to the line, a 29.3. We know he could go quicker than that. He could definitely try and get into the 1:28, but a solid lap to start for Matt. We've got 7 minutes 50 to go, and Dave currently is fastest.
Yeah, I wonder if that was the intention of Sam there, because I noticed on his lap he wasn't using too much battery. I wonder if that was the intention there for Sam to give his teammate a bit of a tow down the straight. Because obviously on this game, you come out with more fuel in qualifying than you used to, so it is possible on there to do 2 laps. So you do like a slow lap and a fast lap, as Dave there does a 28.7.
Wow.
4, so lowers the benchmark even further. So I wonder if them two did improve there. And the message to Sam, obviously, great seeing him back, and obviously my first ever teammate season 9, so he goes back a long way in whatever race, and one of the obviously previous champion. He was a season 12 precision tier champion as well, so he's a previous champion. He teammates in Matt in that year as well, so they are a long time teammate pairing.
Of course, we've got
Yeah.
Lukey as well, who has been in One Hub since the very start, and of course, he finished P3 last season in the last race of the season. That's what helped him. He won in Las Vegas. He had some challenge against quite a lot of drivers to win that one. Of course, I believe P2 champion was decided a few races before, so they can come out for a bit of fun. But there was a fight for P3 between quite a lot of our drivers, and Lukey was able to come out on top and get that P3. That's why he got promoted to P1 this season. Admittedly, they tend to be struggling on the battery, but to be fair, that's one of the best laps I've seen from Lukey today. So fair play to Lukey. He's got to admit he hasn't had much time to play this game because he's been sorting out stuff for pre-season. I got to admit, a bit more than me. As Josh, by the way, P2, I have to say, considering he was in P2 last season and for P3 for one race last season, for him to be competitive right off the bat in P1, that's impressive.
Yeah, very impressive. I was on board with Charlotte there, and she had a big moment coming out the S's, but she managed to keep it together, and she's on a lap now, so let's see what she can do. Obviously in 8th place, but if she improves by a 10th and a bit, she will jump ahead of Owen and Lukey. So it's looking quite competitive at midfield so far in this tier, as the front runners, them top 3 are a long way ahead. They have really massive this so far, but I expect the others to, as the season progresses, to close the gap, as obviously there is different levels of confidence and knowledge on the batteries. As Charlotte's 4 tenths up according to our delta, so she could maybe jump into 4th place if she gets the Casio triangle right. That's how she does. It looks quite good on entry. The exit looks quite good as well. This may break in the 28 here for Charlotte. It's a bit of a moment coming out the corner. Not much grip there, but cross line now, it's a 28.9, and she goes 5th, just behind Sam. A good lap there for the Williams driver.
Yes, indeed. Of course, she's one of the drivers racing in another league, which I can't really say, to be honest, along with her teammate. And I kind of persuaded both of them to join this league. You're welcome. So nice to have them here, of course. Alexis can't make it this week or the week after. She'll join us in round 2. But I, from experience, because I've raced with her, she is like almost a second or 2 quicker than me. So for her to show the pace that she's had already is pretty impressive to compete with the top guys in this tier so far. Lukey is on in the middle of his lap as well. Kieran seems to be struggling a little bit on his lap, and he got to admit that he's just struggling a bit with battery management on this game. Kieran, by the way, he's of course a P1 champion season 27. Of course, Ben Mills didn't make the last race of the season, and Kieran took advantage and won that race, and he won the title. He's gone into the pits. Not a good lap. He needs to improve a bit better than that. Meanwhile, Arnold is on a lap. P3 is pretty respectable for the Red Bull driver.
Yeah, it's a pretty good lap for me. And obviously that's an interesting point you said there, because I think it's the first time in a long time our top tier champions on the same game cycle went to the last round. So that's fantastic. A little note on Kieran. His best lap's on a medium tyre, so he hasn't done a flying lap on the softs yet, so he will improve, I think, once he gets a lap on the softs done. But yeah, I was on board with his car. He didn't seem to have too much confidence at the moment, but I'm sure you'll find it as we get finished. Yeah, Arnaud, who had a solidly good season last season, I have to say. I think Arnaud was really strong last season. He was just behind them front guys, but he's always up there. His pace was very strong. What's he doing sector 2? He's a bit down sector 2. So this lap isn't the best lap. He's invalidated anyway, so this lap is done for him. He's an invalid lap, so he'll be coming into the pits, I'm sure of it. But yeah, Arnaud is another sleeper, I think, for this season. Keep an eye out for him. I think he'll have some really good races, because what Arnaud is, he's very experienced, and in his race, he's got great racecraft, and it does show sometimes during the season as he's going on a slow lap here, maybe trying to on the recharge lap maybe for the Red Bull man.
He hasn't got that long left, so I wonder if he's going to have to dive it into the pits, because I don't think he's going to have enough time to do one final lap, unlike quite a lot of our drivers. So 2 minutes and 46 seconds to go. Let us know in the chat who you think is going to be getting a pole position for today's Japanese Grand Prix. Of course, it's pre-season. The reason why we're streaming pre-season is to give a rough idea of the driver's pace as well. So and even the commentators as well. Sam's backed out of his lap again, so he's not going to have time to do another one. But it does give people a chance to pretty much get used to the drivers they'll be racing with this season, give a chance for commentators to get used to the drivers they'll be commentating on, and also if there are any drivers that are maybe going too quick or too slow, we can reevaluate them ahead of round 1 and it won't affect the championship too much. And of course, it's a new game cycle. Well, it's a new DLC, new battery management, new lifting and coasting and all that stuff. So again, we get to see who's quick and who's not, and who we think could win the title or not. But it could change by round 1 or round 2 of the season. Pretty much P1 we got spot on. It took only 2 or 3 minutes to decide P1 placement, and there's quite a few people that are struggling, but they haven't played the game that much. But for everybody else, game on, I would say.
Yeah. Interesting with Aston Martin drivers. I think they're going for a build-up lap and then going for a lap at the end there. So the Aston Martin guys are going a different approach to qualifying to the rest of the guys. And obviously, you're noting that as well. If you want to sign up to the league, got space in every tier. Do exclamation mark Discord in the chat, and we'll get the Discord. Ask for Discord, and we'll get a Discord link for you. You may be able to sign up and race next week, because there's spaces in every tier. So if you sign up now, you will be racing next week.
Of course, you don't want to be too quick, because we do have a pace cap. So if you end up being like way too quick than the fastest drivers in P1, you won't be put in P1. But there we go. We did have people that signed up today. I think we had one person sign up today and raced in P2 today in the pre-season race, and he did pretty well. So that just goes to show that if you sign up, get some laps in, you'll be placing a tier. But honestly, don't sandbag. Don't just do 3 or 4 laps and that's it, done with you. You got to do multiple laps as well, because otherwise we won't see your true potential. Let me get the track back up so I can see who is on laps and who's not. Josh is just about to start his run. We got an Audi right behind him on a lap. That's Kieran, I believe. So Kieran's going to be compromised, I believe, on the middle of his run. We've got Samsu, who's going to be the first driver to set a lap time. Heading towards Spoon Curve now. Uses a lot of that exit curve as he makes his way towards 130R. Again, doesn't have much battery going through there. He's going to have to do a little bit of lifting and coasting when we get to the Casio Triangle coming up in just a second. Lifts just after the 150 metre board as well. He's got plenty of battery coming out of there. Use a bit of that curb quite nicely. The checker flag has dropped. He's going to be the first driver to cross the line. And it's going to be a 129.0. Slots himself into P4. What can his teammate do? Of Matt, P5. Quite close lap times between the pair of them. We've got one of the Red Bulls up next. ERT Arnold, who's third. Can he snatch the top spot from any of the top 2? The answer to that is no, he doesn't improve on his lap time. His teammate Owen Wyatt is up next. He's on a 129.4, but he's about 6/10 quicker than his previous best. That's going to put him right up near Arnold and Samster, which we could see Red Bulls quite close together in this grid. Here comes Owen White up to the line. Yes, I was right. We've got a Red Bull 3-4 at the moment, which is very, very impressive. Charlotte stayed in P7. She can't improve. Josh, can he snatch pole from Dave? No, he can't, but he does improve. Kieran slots himself into 4th, so he finally got a lap time in. Dave struggled a bit towards the final corner, but he knows he's going to get pole, so he's going straight back to the pit. So
Lukey.
And Lukey, yeah, he's in 9th place at the moment, and Mert did not set a lap time. So on pole position for pre-season is Dave. And has he had a pole position before, Jamie?
I'll have a quick look at the database for you, as I believe he possibly has. Dave is yeah, no, he hasn't had a pole before, but he has had I'm pretty sure he's qualified on the front row before, but he's yet to have a pole. But yeah, he's had the front row before, but I think he got pipped. I'm not quite sure what the track was, but look at that, it was 7 thousandths between the top 2. That is massive. And say good lap there by Owen at the end there to get ahead of the 2 Aston Martins, and say looking quite close between like the Red Bulls and the Aston Martins. That could be a nice little beefy battle between them 2 teams. Obviously different parts of the grid in real life, but on this game, in this tier, they do seem quite close together.
I think quite a lot of drivers in this tier are quite close together as well, and it is really great to see. Look at that, 7,000th between the top two there. Josh just missed out on pole position, which honestly for Josh, he was gutted, I bet you. And he did quite well in the pre-season event that Cam organised as well. So here we go then, here's your order. We got Dave from Josh, Arnold, Kieran, Owen Wyatt, Samster, Matt, Charlotte, Lukey and Mert. The top 9 separated by less than a second, which I have to say is very, very close indeed. Of course, for those of you that are brand new to One Hub Racing, we are having a lobby restart, so you won't get to see the Demolition Derby, I'm afraid. It's just to make sure that we are testing quite a lot of the rules set ahead of, round 1 next week, and one of these includes a lobby restart, because we do usually have grid penalties to hand out, whether it's if people are being naughty people or if we have car wear penalties, which we can touch a little bit on in the talk show. Mike will be covering that with Colin next week, a little bit more about car wear, and maybe in the stewards room later on during the week as well. But really hard to judge with obviously only 10 drivers, but I have to say, my biggest good surprise, Josh, I know I keep banging on about Josh, but for him to go from P2 to P1, relishing the challenge, and challenge up near the front. Yes, the likes of Alex and Craggy are not here, but for Josh to not be that far off Dave is very impressive.
No, it's very good, yeah. It's quite impressive and it's good to see. And I wonder if Mertz just fancied, it's a pre-season race, a bit of fun. I wonder if he fancies him. I'll just start at the back and see what I do. I'll just have a bit of fun. I think Mert might have intentionally DNF, just have a last to first, if possible, try a last to first challenge, only 10 drivers. So Mert maybe want to try practice racing, going through the fields, because that could be important, especially with grid penalties coming up and stuff. So it could be a good little test for Mert, see how he gets through the field, because I do expect Mert to be up there by the end of the race. But yeah, we've been the fastest driver in qualifying night. So, and also on Mert, I saw Kieran put a message in the chat saying apparently Kieran got a nice slipstream off Josh for his last lap there, so maybe that helped him open up a couple of places on the grid.
Yeah. So that's what's gaining quite a bit of time. Okay, so I saw that, because Josh was in the middle of his lap time, and Kieran was right behind him as well. And I was wondering if he was going to get hindered. There we go. But he didn't get hindered, so it was absolutely fine. But I want to see if he could go back to the form that he had in season 27 when he won the championship. So we will have 2 or 3 champions in the last few seasons of in One Hub Race. We'll have Craggy, we'll have Kieran, and we have Alex, which I have to say is quite incredible. 3 P1 champions will be going up against each other this season. Kieran probably not as comfortable in this game compared to previous games, but Alex stronger than ever. Craggy is looking to redeem himself as well. Of course, he's not here. And Mert, of course, has not won a title, but towards the end of last season, his form was just up there very nicely.
Yeah, he had a bit of a slow start last season. I think that probably cost him a chance of a title, because in the season his pace was very much on his pace of his teammate. And to say, but I think what happened last season, I think Alex just clutched it at the end there. He had some really impressive runs. He obviously had all them second half of the season. He had wins. His worst result was 4th place the last 8 races, and that is just champion form. But Mert had podiums. He had podiums in 5 of the last 6 races, seconds and thirds, and he was sort of playing a number 2 role to Marco. I think there was races last season where he was quicker than Marco, but I think the team decided to prioritise Marco until the championship. But now it's back to 0 again. I think now them two will be having a more of an even fight to start the season. So yeah. Top 3, the top 4 all returning from last season, which is great to see. And obviously Lakitu not here, but he will be back on season 30, as he tends to do the second seasons in One Hub Racing.
Yeah, I'm doing a Lakitu. I'm not racing this season, but I'm going to be racing the following season, and Lakitu's doing the same. I think he's got an activity that he usually does at the first half of the season, so he can't do the first half. But he's been active in the One Hub socials. When he saw that I tagged him in previous season's qualifying weeks, he was like, "Oh, look, it's me." So don't worry, Lakita, we haven't forgotten about you as well. But we are about to get underway for the main race action. Let us know your thoughts on who you think is going to get not pole position, bloody hell, the race win. But we will have to go through our sponsors because it is tradition. We have to go through sponsors at One Hub Racing because we have a legal requirement to do so. And we got Bazza in the chat. Long time no see. Good to see you as well. It is a long time since your last on Twitch. Welcome to Twitch, my friend. Welcome to One Hub Racing. The last time we've seen you in quite a while. But anyway, let's go through our sponsors. We've got Delta app, which is our title sponsor for a second season in One Hub Racing. If you use the command !Delta, you can track all your investments in one app and make smart decisions like the world's top investors, but you have to be over 18 on that one. If you're under 18, you can't use it. We of course got Next Level Racing, who are going to be providing prizes this season. Sim Racing setups, they've got some F1 26 DLC setups that you can get by using the code OneHubRacing. You can get 10% off. It also has strategies for 2-stop races. I gave that feedback to them, and it's now included in the strategies, which is great. There's also ERS maps, so you can see where you can lift and coast, and when to use medium and none and hot lap and all that stuff. And it's also prizes for the Sim Racing Setups Driver of the Day, and the one with the most driver of the days will win Driver of the Season, just like Mr. Jamie did as well, which he's going to be using to help with comms. So you're welcome, Jamie. And then we got Pure Sim Gear, where you can get gloves by using the code OHR10P. You can get 10% off, and the most combined poles and fastest laps as of round 1 next week will get some gloves or socks. Our partners, Vespa Team, they're providing prizes this year for the Go Gets Tough Award and Cam's rankings, and of course providing the payment options. Solar has been very busy behind the scenes making sure that was working. And finally, to our partners at SimGrid for providing our community and platform for our standings. There'll be annoying Google Sheets that we have to do and forms, and it'll be a bloody nightmare. But those are your sponsors. Jamie, who's your pick a winner?
I feel like Dave will do it. I think he seems confident about the game. He seems to have upped his game from last season. I think Dave is going to make a confidence gaining win tonight. But I do think Mert will finish on the podium though. I think he will get through and finish on the podium. So that's my prediction.
Oh, okay. I think, this is going to be a very tough one. I think Mert is going to climb his way up to the podium, maybe even win it. I don't know. Again, Japan is a very hard track to overtake. Of course, it's hosted many Grand Prix. It's hosted quite a lot of title deciders. But we are about to get underway then for the pre-season race, the final one of the evening in the P1 tier. And it is lights out. Let's see who gets a decent start. Josh gets the better getaway, it seems, in towards turn 1. But can Dave fight it off? No, he can't. Josh takes the lead. But there's a little bit of contact between Dave and Josh. Both of the Red Bulls took advantage there, with Arnold and Owen going up to second and third. Kieran up to fourth. Dave down into 5th place. And we got a lot of movers and shakers, but the biggest movers are 2 of the Red Bulls after starting about 4th and 5th. They're now 2nd and 3rd place, working together quite nicely there in Japan. But Josh taking the lead in towards turn 1. And again, it's pre-season, a chance to get rid of your mistakes now. Luckily, Dave only made that mistake now rather than next week.
Yeah. Was quite an aggressive move there from Josh. We got through. Josh got good run. Dave's got the inside of Kieran into the hairpin, using a bit of his battery there. He's through, and he's up into 4th place. A bit of a Kamui Kobayashi style move there, but I think Kieran may get the opportunity to switch back here on the battery. He's going to go into Spoon. A difficult case to overtake though, and he has to back out of it there. But yeah, Dave, an opportunistic move there to get past the Aldi driver up to 4th place, try and recover some damages. Samster goes a bit deep in the Spoon, and he managed to keep it together before going into the gravel. So yeah, great start there by Josh, up into lead, and the Red Bull boys are doing really well on Dave. And now look at this, we've got Arnad all over the back of Josh. Is he going to go for the inside Casio triangle to go into the lead of the race? No, thinks better of it, but that means he will get the overtake boost, so we get more battery power and better recharge rate. As Owen's right with him now. Look at the 2 Red Bulls following Josh, and they're really close together. And will the Red Bulls work together, try and pinch this Alpine as Arnaud's got up the inside in turn 1 into the lead of the race, and he's through.
Nicely done as well. He looked very comfortable on the brakes as well. I wonder if he had a bit more battery to use as well. Of course, both of them are ERT teammates. I'm almost certain both of them will be in a party as well, and they'll be working strategies together. So I think great work by the pair of them. But let's look at the tyres. Interestingly, we've got I thought we could have more people on means, but everyone in the P1 tier has gone on for a set of the soft compounded tyres, apart from 2 drivers, Kieran and Mertz. We've seen that with the other tiers where the majority of people have gone on the mediums, but most people on P1 have gone for the softs. Of course, these are the best of the best. You would expect, I think, a lot of the P1 drivers to go for a differing strategy compared to everybody else. But my experience in when I was doing a little bit of practice, even though I'm not racing, the softs don't last at all. But that's because I'm a rubbish driver. That's why I'm in the commentary box for this season, and from experience from quite a lot of the drivers in the chat, softs tend to die optimal pace around lap 3, lap 4, so I think they're going to tend to struggle there. So that's why I'm going to keep an eye on Kieran and Mertz in this next phase of the race. But we're heading towards 130R now. This is where I think we're going to start to see quite a lot of people lose their battery, and we see a bit of super clipping in real life, of course. But this is where we will have to see quite a few people lifting through that corner there. But the next opportunity for Josh to get past will be this lap, because straight line mode is now on.
Yeah, now Josh gets the overtake boost, so now he's going to take advantage of that there. As Josh backs out of it there, he's trying to save a bit, trying maybe for the second half of the lap there, and Owen's really close. Lukey's starting a bit detached. The front 7 are starting to fall apart. As you've got Matt got all the back of Lukey there, but can't quite get the move done in the first sector. Even with these new brakes, it's quite difficult to pass in the first sector. So, but these front 5 or 6, they really are right on each other's tail. And yeah, I think Kieran needs a guy to watch out for, because in the P4 race I did earlier, the softs were great the first 3 or 4 laps, but by lap 4 I agree, the mediums did come on strong as a strategy. I think the strategy today maybe double medium for a lot of these guys. I think the medium is probably the best race tyre around this circuit.
Yeah, there might be some people that prefer the hard compounded tyres, but in this tier, I would say the mediums will be the better option. And for those of you that are new to the new regs and still have no idea, even though you've been watching F1, the pink line that you can see on the track map is where straight mode is used, and the blue dot just into the Casio triangle, that's where the overtake zone is. And as long as they're within 1 second at that point, they will have overtake mode the whole lap.
Josh
so Josh's going
yeah,
to try and go for the move. He's got that overtake that he can use this lap, but he's going to lose it if he overtakes Arnaud now. But he might take advantage and maybe overtake just after the overtake zone. But Josh gets ahead of Arnaud. But yes, he overtakes. The overtake mode is you only get it if you're within 1 second of the car ahead within the overtake zone, which is marked in blue. Meanwhile, Owen White is going to try and get past his teammate. He's going to have a bit more overtake to use, but he's not getting past as of yet at the moment. Meanwhile, we've got a move up in the background for P8. Charlotte makes her way. I'm so used to saying his, but I've got to say her now. But anyway, Charlotte makes her way past Matt in towards P8.
And Mertz making good progress at the back of the grid on the medium tyres, up into 6th place, and now in this lead train of 7 drivers. So yeah, Mertz making good progress, just past Sam a lap ago.
Yeah, so of course Mertz starting from the back. I think I'm almost certain he wants to have some fun, because don't forget, in pre-season, points are not scored in pre-season. Yes, you'll get your results on SimGrid, but yeah, points are not scored, so it's a chance for people to try out the battery regulations for the first time, and then they'll look back into next week and think, right, what do I need to practice, what do I need to work on? But I'm almost certain quite a few drivers will be wanting to try out some setups, some sim racing setups. And what's happened, Jamie?
Arnaud coming out the spoon had a massive slide on, massive swap on, and low in May after he passed here. And I'm surprised Arnaud didn't spin there, because he had opposite lock and he might have hold it together. Luckily for him, he was actually gaining on Josh there. He didn't lose much time there, but that was a big moment for Arnaud there. I think the softs are starting to give up a little bit now. I think that's the first sign we've seen of it.
Yeah, I think the softs are starting to, I think, struggle a little bit. You can see the tyre temps, they're struggling, and obviously the front left is where they gain a little bit of tyre wear the most, but a lot of other tracks, the rears tend to really give it in the most, and that's where people tend to slide a bit more as well. So we got to keep an eye on that as we head into lap 5 now, and Mert is already starting to be quicker and is matching the pace of the guys around. Yeah, so let's look at that. Let's look at 135.
Just past Kieran as well. So,
yeah, he's passed Kieran. Yeah, 130.5 he just did, compared to everyone else's 131. So already Mert is the quickest driver out there on the circuit currently, and he's looking to gain past a lot of these guys. So Mert will probably want to get past.
The Red Bull.
Dave up at the outside in towards the hairpin, and I think Dave's going to get this one done. Of course, Dave seems to be managing his tyres a lot better compared to Owen at the moment, through into this next section. But I think Dave's got this one. Yes, he has. He's going to try and get past Owen's teammate Arnold as well in towards Spoon Curve. Doesn't quite do it.
Arnold's struggling. Yeah, Arnold's struggling again. Another slide in the Spoon. Arnold's rears are going off there. I wonder if he's maybe not got enough rear downforce on, because the rear end of that Red Bull looks absolute awful. It looks like a Red Bull this year, to be fair, the rear end. But yeah, anyway, look how much of a run Dave's got through the 130 yard there. He had to almost back out there because how much more overspeed he had. But he's going to go up the inside here. They're going to bang wheels, are they? I think they're going to bang wheels. Yeah, they are. But Arnold's going to be a bit compromised on his exit. But Dave pits, so Dave pits going for the undercut.
Yeah, so Dave's going to come in then. That was a lap that I would kind of expect the drivers on the softs to pit. We saw that in all the tiers, I think, today for people that were starting on the softs. I think I saw people in P4 stretch out the softs for about 9 laps, I believe. It was Truth and Cods and... Yeah. So we got some moves being made. We got Mert almost getting Arnold there in towards the start of the S's, but couldn't quite do so. That was very, very close. Mert's got to get a move on here, as Mert will have the overtake.
Josh has pulled away.
Josh has pulled away, so Owen is going to lose out on the overtake, those, whereas his teammate, I think, will be absolutely fine. So Arnold going to try and close up to his teammate, but we do have Mert chasing him down as well. So Owen has got to get a move on. Maybe they're going to have a little bit of team orders there to make sure these two could do everything about it. But yeah, Mert's catching, and he means business here. Yes, he started the back. Yeah, yes, it's going to be easy. So he's got more battery as well, is Mert. He's going to try and go to the right-hand side. A bit of contact made between the two of them in towards Spoon. Arnold just about keeps position off of Mert, but that was very, very close. That is allowing Kieran, by the way, to be in this battle. If I was Kieran, I would play it safe around here and just stay within this train and probably hope that people make a mistake.
Yeah, Kieran's having a good race. I'd say Kieran low-key is having a really good race at the moment. There's Mert, the two Red Bulls are back. They touch wheels there. I wonder if the contact, they look like the two Red Bulls touched there. They are very feisty. It reminds me of Ricciardo and Verstappen back in the day, as Josh pits and so does Owen and Arnold. Arnold actually let Josh Owen through last lap, and now Mert's in the lead as he's been overtaken down the straight, because Mert saved more battery for the rest of the lap, so he's back managing to go through. He's got Kieran and the Red Bull going side by side in turn 1, but Arnold managed to stay ahead. Obviously, Kieran and Arnold have raced each other a lot in the past, so these two know each other very well.
Yeah, of course, Kieran and Arnold race quite a lot in the other league, which again, I'm not. Anytime I say other league, it could be loads of different leagues in one broadcast. We just can't say another league, unfortunately, because we want to advertise, of course, One Hub Racing. We race every night on Sundays in this P1 tier at 7:30. But of course, all other 3 tiers as well, as David's got past Josh, by the way, with the undercut. Yeah. And that was easy doing as well. Don't forget, if you're brand new to One Hub Racing, if you are brand new, welcome. This is a mandatory 2-stop race for all our drivers, even in pre-season. And all drivers will have to complete a mandatory 2-stop race. That will be for the whole season. And we will have an adaptive weather system as of next week, which we'll go to in more detail when Mike and Colin host the talk show next week. So make sure you do keep an eye on that. But for this week only, we got the weather set to clear, so we can see people's true pace. All other One Hub rules remain the same, including safety car is still on, but it will be on reduced, as Kieran does get past Arnold quite easily there. Dave does get a 3-second time penalty, which I'm quite surprised with, because we haven't seen that many penalties from some of the tiers. So Dave being out of the norm there. Arnold and Samsa are the last of the soft runners, though, Jamie, to come in.
Yeah, Arnold, you could tell by Arnold, you could tell at last lap there, the softs are gone because Kieran easy over past him and Mert was pulling a second away. But yeah, Sam's having a decent race as well because in how far away he's been racing. He's not far off these lead runners, and I think Sam's pace looks quite promising so far in that midfield fight as Dave will take over that lead, but obviously he has got that penalty which is going to hurt him. And how long will Mert and Kieran go? That's the interesting question. I believe on mediums you want to go around 10, maybe 11 laps, and Dave has gone soft, so Dave is running the double soft strategy, so that is an interesting call there by Dave, and he's going to have to pit really early final stint here. So Dave is going for a very aggressive strategy.
You went for a similar strategy, didn't you, in your race? Apart from you started on mediums and then you went to soft. So I could see why it could work. But like you were saying
really
earlier, you lost quite a bit of time. So Dave probably making not the best decision, but that is going to allow the likes of Josh, Owen, and Arnaud to catch up a little bit. I have to say with this tier, quite a lot of these guys are quite close. Lukey seems to be struggling a little bit in P1 at the moment, but hopefully after a few races of getting up to speed, he should be okay. Because like I was saying, he's still getting used to the game after only being on it properly this weekend. We're on lap 8 of 27, by the way, and a few more laps before we will get to see people pitting. Mert will come into the pit lane. That's an early stop for Seb, the medium tyres. I would expect him to go a few more laps, so he comes in, of course. Kieran has stayed out. Dave and Josh, though, are going to be going for the move, pass it to the overtaking zone. I think Josh will just about get the overtake, and he's going to a blast of it, and I think Dave probably would have regretted trying to go for the move there in towards the final corner because he's not going to have that extra boost compared to the likes of Josh. But Dave just about holds on there. Let me just check the cemetery to see who's got the overtake. It is Josh. So I will give you a bit of education for those of you that don't know. The blue means they've got the overtake and the extra boost that they need, whereas Dave's on the yellow, which means they don't, but they can still use the boost. So let me get the telemetry up, just so you have a little bit of a rough idea, because I know a few people can be quite confused, and I want to educate new people into the regulations, just in case you want to race with us. Sign-ups are still open. If you want to race in any of the tiers, we've got plenty of spaces ahead of round 1 in Belgium. But yeah, Dave just about held on there to Josh.
Yeah, I believe with the boost you get an extra kilojoule of energy, which is quite a lot on a track like this, and it's going to help him. And Josh, he's going to use it down this straight, but this is a straight where you tend to use a lot of the battery. This second half of the lap is where you tend to deploy mostly, because it's mainly straights. So in qualifying, we saw a few guys basically have boost from here all the way to the end of the lap. So as these guys, as Dave has got, Josh got a lot more battery than Dave. So I wonder if Josh maybe fancy a move here. But if you go, as you say, if you go for moving there, chicane, you're not quite sure if you're going to get overtake mode, because obviously that's where the detection is. But he's through, and now he's in the lead, and Dave, is he going to just back out of it and go for it down the pit straight? To me, these cars, they look a bit twitchy into the slow speed corner. I'm noticing a few cars, they're not as well planted as last year's cars. Owen Wyatt now is right with these guys as well as Mert. So Mert has got an offset of about 2 or 3 laps on the tyres, and he's right with these guys. Mert's pace is as strong as ever.
Yeah, I think pretty much most of these guys have been practicing with this DLC. Not in Japan, most likely, but have really got to grips with the DLC, with the new regulations, and that is why, of course, they're in this tier. So we're seeing, I think, a lot more close racing. We saw that with P2, didn't we? With 3 or 4 cars before the safety car, right up close together, and we're seeing it here with about 4 or 5 cars are now almost within the overtaking range. And of course, there's the straight line mode. It's not like with DRS that you only get it within 1 second of the car ahead. Straight line mode, you get it regardless as well. So we could see people strategically not using it accidentally, and that's going to cost them a lot of lap time. So I think this is going to be interesting here. Will we see a bit of overtake chicking? I think the stewards are going to be looking at this race very closely to pick up a few rules, because of course DRS chicking was banned for season 28. Will we ban overtake chicken, as we like to call it? I think that could be possible for One Hub Racing. I'm sure I'm going to bring some words to the stewards. I can tell you that. Josh has gained a bit of time on Dave. Owen's he's got a great run, but I think Dave's going to back out because Dave could get a bit of overtake. So Owen tried to go around the outside in towards the final corner.
Wheels.
And they both made contact. Then Dave's out the race. And is that going to cause a safety car? No.
Did he hit the wall? Yeah, must hit the wall.
Yeah, they hit the wall and they both made contact. So no safety car being deployed. We're down to 9 drivers.
Well, Dave's retired on track, actually. He retired on track, actually. His car is moving, so he did retire on track there.
I think it was just one place, one time for the both of them, and that was gutting. Of course, no stewarding for the pre-season race, but they can't afford to do it again when we head to round one.
No, round one, and obviously Belgium. I mean, another track where it's a battery. It's draining on the battery, so another track where battery management is going to be crucial. So, yeah, that's going to be one to keep an eye out for sure. But that does eliminate two of our contenders for the win, which is a bit of a shame because they were both looking very fast. I have to say they were in that fight for a win and a possible podium, a possible win there. So that is disappointing. But I think Dave should take pride in his pace there because his pace did look really good, and he definitely contend for race wins this season.
Yeah, yes, we hardly got that much drivers tonight, but we will get to see the whole class bit next week, and who knows, we'll see probably more drivers that have signed up recently, so we will have to wait and see on that one. But Mert gets another chance here to go for the move here. He looks a bit faster, but he's hardly got any overtake left. If I was him, I wouldn't go for it here. I would have strategically stayed behind just to save a bit of battery, maybe to do a bit of lifting. He should have done a little bit of lifting there, Jamie, to gain a bit of battery. Now he's going to lose battery, and now Josh is going to gain that extra boost that he needs for the overtake mode to try and get past. Josh has saved quite a bit of battery here. He's managing that battery very, very well indeed, and Mert is going to, I thought Mert was going to be absolutely swamped, but Mert, I think, is doing what I suggested and saved a bit of battery on the start when it straight lifted a bit. So thank you, Mert, for doing that. And if you haven't, then you probably saved a bit more, or maybe you have better straight line speed. We don't know. I think the top two are definitely a class of the field because Arnold is struggling to keep up with them. It's not going to be that long, of course, before people make their second stop.
Yeah, and also Josh, he came off the boost pretty early on that pitch rate there, so he wasn't too keen to go for it down the pitch rate. I think he knows he may be getting later on the lap as he's got around 70% and Mert's down in the 20s. So I expect to see Josh maybe have an opportunity into this part of the lap here. As yeah, I do believe now we're starting to see the true pecking order of the field. Now these overtake trains have derailed a little bit. Now we're starting to see the true pecking order of the field, and obviously it's not as remember the DRS trains. Do you have the overtake trains? I don't think they're as powerful as the DRS trains used to be. You can still stick with guys, but it's not like you gain half a second by the car like you used to on DRS.
Because you have to burn it. You have to burn it. It's like DRS, you get it all the time, whereas with overtake, you only get a burst of it. But at least with overtake, you can use it for the entire lap. But you can't use it willy-nilly because otherwise you'll run out of deployment and you could derate on the straight, which is something that you do not want to do with your ERS. Josh has another chance here to try and get past. But again, Mert's straight line speed is just so good, which is very, very great to see. Another battle that we're seeing, by the way, is Kieran on Samster, two One Hub Racing legends. We got Kieran, unfortunately, not quite close enough to try and get past, unfortunately. So we'll watch those two over the course of the race. We're almost half race distance. If you haven't already, make sure you leave us a like on Twitch. Give us a follow as well if you haven't already. We also upload the streams to YouTube, so if you haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube at One Hub Racing, and also follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and X at One Hub Racing, and also join our Discord by using the command !Discord, and we still got sign-ups open and spaces in all 4 tiers. So if you think you want to race next week with these guys, sign up and do some quali laps ahead of next week, and we could get you in, and we could be commentating on you in season 29, which will be great to see. Meanwhile, heading towards Spoon Curve now, Josh is looking incredibly close, but I'm almost certain he'll probably do a little bit of lifting because he wants to still gain that overtake.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you don't want to. It's so tempting because you get the overspeed so much through this section, but it tells you when to pass, but you don't want to. You just got to take attention. I had this in my race where I gained on a slow car in 130R, but I had to back out because I realised I'm getting down the pitch rate. So I passed him there, then he probably would have passed me, and I lost about 3 seconds of race time. He's got to just. Obviously, it's different because these two guys on the same strategy, they actually race in position. But it is just so difficult, and it's unnatural to think that way. But you have to with these new things. That's why I think it's going to take 3 or 4 races for people to really figure out. But these guys will be ahead of everybody else because these guys are doing the most practice. They're probably doing a lot of races already. So these P1 guys are ahead of the curve as always. They always are with every regulation change. That's why they're the best drivers in the league. And
of course, when me and Lukey were deciding these placements for P1 tier, it took us 2 minutes. That was it. Every other tier, every other tier, we were umming and ahhing about who should be in what tier. P1, we had no trouble at all deciding who was going to be in P1 tier. And the reason why, because they put the most practice in. They wanted to know what the new regulations are, and they don't want to be settling for dominating P2. They want to be improving every time against the best of the best, because that's how they're going to get better. You're not going to get better if you're dominating a league. You're going to get better if you're driving against a quicker driver, because you can learn from each other and see what lines they're taking, what battery they're using in certain corners. Are they lifting here? Are they saving battery there? It's really, really good. As Kieran has left the session, that's not ideal. Hopefully Kieran can join back soon, but it's not going to be that long, Jamie, before we will see pit stops. I think medium tyres for most of these guys, as Samson does overtake the AI of Kieran. But what a shame for Kieran to disconnect. Hopefully we can get him back soon.
Yeah, I don't have him as a friend, I'm afraid. So hopefully he'll be able to add me, and maybe get back in, because he's now on PC. I don't have him as a friend, so hopefully I'll find out. I'll try and find out his stuff and try and add him back in. As Matt's just overtaken Charlotte for 8th place. These two having a great battle for 7th place down the back of the field, but there's battles all the way through in one of the races. Owen White pits for a set of hard tyres. He's going hard, seeing that's the first sighting of the hard tyre tonight.
I was expecting him to stay out a little bit longer on the mediums, but maybe he's struggling a little bit on the mediums, and it's hard for the hards to get up to temperature, as you saw in turn number 1 there. So I think for Owen, he's going to hope that the undercut worked. We saw with your tier, the overcut worked quite a bit on your first stops. So for Owen, he might be a little bit worried there. But luckily with this tier, Owen's in clear air. So whereas some other drivers in your tier, I believe, was caught up in some traffic. So Owen at least has come out in clear air. So he's going to try and set some quick laps to make sure he can go back near the front, because of course him and Dave made contact earlier on. Of course, we can't judge who it was. Luckily, Kieran has just joined the session, which is great news, as I wonder who's going to blink first out of Mert and Josh, who dive it in to the pit lane. I think it's not going to be that long before they're going to be sliding everywhere, I think, as I thought I was going to see both of them dive it into the pits together, but Mert comes in first. Arnold does the same, of course. He couldn't do it last lap because his teammate came in. Sam, I won't be surprised if he stays out, I think, for an extra lap, or maybe he could follow Mert in. Nope, he stays out as well.
Staying out.
I'm just trying to see who's going to come in. We got a yellow flag. That's Josh out the race. Josh has binned it in at the S's section.
Safety car's out. Safety car's out.
And that is bad news for everybody that has just pitted, that have not come out of the pit lane yet. If I was Arnold, I would be counting your lucky stars there, because you just come out of the pits there. But unfortunately, we couldn't catch that.
Well, Kieran's rejoined the session. He didn't lose much time at Sam, and now he's in a great position. He's going to pit. He's going to join the back of the pack. Yeah, I missed that Josh crash, I'm afraid.
So did I.
Did he just... Yeah, but that's a shame. But luckily for Josh, it's the pre-season, no points in this race. But as I said, his pace looked really good, as Mert's actually overtaken Kieran there. Don't know what's going on there.
AI?
Oh no, that was a glitch there. So that was a glitch there. It was glitched for me.
I was going to say that didn't happen to me, so it's probably your end, my friend.
Kieran's back in second now. He's back in second now. Yeah, I think that's because Kieran rejoined. When your driver rejoins, sometimes there's weird stuff, doesn't it? But yeah. Thankfully, Kieran's back in for the race's sake. But Samster, these two are pitting now. Surely these three haven't pitted. Will pit now.
And now complete their strategy. That will complete their strategy. Yeah. I remember yesterday when the host disconnected from the session, it got rid of the intervals, and to get rid of the intervals back, the spectator had to rejoin the session, which costs a bit of time. But luckily, the intervals are here. Good news, as we got another. Oh no, I thought we had another yellow flag, but of course it is, of course, a safety car waiting to pick up the leader. Of course, Mert has gained quite a bit from this, as he's going to come out as your race leader by quite a way. Yeah, you'll definitely be in the lead, so Mert's going to be very happy with that. Of course, he was fighting with Josh there, and I have to agree with you, Josh was looking so good up until this point, and he could have his head high. In my opinion, if I was to make my prediction on who could win the title, Josh will definitely be one of my shortlists. I have no idea if he'll win the title, but he'll definitely do that. Josh has just put in the chat, an easy mistake to make. boosted out of turn 1 and lost the rear. Now, any advice, especially for the people in the lower tier, if you're running mostly no assist, because if you're running like full TC, you could get away with it, apparently. But if you're running no TC especially, if you come out of boost and you go into turn 1 almost full throttle as you go into the S's, do not go full throttle straight away, because you're going to do like Josh did, go into a spin and then potentially get out of the race. So it's important that if you are in boost not long after you head into a braking zone, make sure you be more careful with the throttle, because otherwise that's where you're going to lose time. You're going to end up in a spin, especially if you're running no traction. So that's something I had to learn quite quickly when I was racing Silverstone, I think about a month or 2 ago. And I realised, why do I keep spinning? But then I realised I was using boost the previous corner, and the quickest way was to go none, and then I could have gone full throttle. But there you go. So what you coming out of boost, it takes a long time for it to come out, even when you press the boost off button. So be wary of that, ladies and gentlemen, especially when you're on overtake. So safety car is now collected a lot of our cars. We are just waiting for Lukey to close the field. This will be good news for Lukey. It hasn't really changed much, Jamie, of this order, the safety car.
No, they stayed the same really. But interesting enough, the guys are pitted. Samster, Kieran, Lukey, Charlotte and Matt. Kieran's gone on soft tyres. Now that is a bold call. Obviously it's a pre-season race, so you might as well go for a bold call here, but this safety car should come in next lap, I believe. So that'll be start of lap 19. So that'll be 8 racing laps you'll have to do on the soft tyre. Now that is going to be a bit of a stretch, I think. But if anybody can do it, it's a P1 tier driver. And it's the end of the race, the track's rubbered up, there's not as much fuel on board, so it could be possible, I guess, but I think the last 2 laps for him might be a bit interesting.
Yeah, this could be interesting to say the least. I think in P2 we had a safety car come out towards the end of the race, I believe, and that changed the complexity of the race. So Kieran going on the soft, probably not the best idea, but it's pre-season. Just go and have some fun, have a little bit of a laugh, and see if it can last. But to be fair, we saw in P4 the drivers make the soft last about 9 laps, and we got a safety car, so it is still possible for Kieran to be able to do this. And of course, these drivers are the best of the best here in One Hub Racing. So we'll run through your order then. We've got Mert that is leading the way, Arnoud in P2, we've got Owen White in P3, Samster in 4th, we've got Kieran in P5, we've got Matt in P6, we've got Charlotte in P7, and Lukey bringing up the rear in P8. Lukey not having the best of races so far, unfortunately, but he's got a long way to go this season to get used to the battery regulation. Safety car almost certain will come in at the end of this lap, Jamie.
Yeah, definitely. The field's bunched up now. There's no reason for the safety car not to come in next lap. We've had 3 laps of it already, so it should definitely come in this lap. And now this is interesting. This is how everyone's got a full churn of battery on this restart. And now how are people going to approach this restart? This is going to be absolutely amazing to watch, I think, because you're going to see a lot of different ways to approach this restart. Now, Mert, on these hard tyres, you're going to have to get him the temperature, which is not an easy thing to do, and then you're going to have to get a good exit. Look how much he's weaving behind the safety car, trying to get the tyres up to temperature, because I think he knows he's going to go this lap. You'll get the message at the end of sector 2, which is it's not much time for the drivers to react, because that is on the approach to 130R. So we should get the message now the safety car's coming to end this lap. So it should happen here, I believe, and here it is. We are going to get going very shortly.
Here we go then, our first safety car of the P1 tier this evening, and we've got Mert that's going to be leading the field away as we head towards the Casio Triangle. Mert, of course, had strong form towards the end of last season and is looking to be one of the contenders for the championship. Of course, we won't have overtake mode yet until very soon, as Mert struggling to get on the power, sliding quite a bit towards the final corner. This will gain a lot on Arnoud there, as Lukey had a good restart as well, but of course you can't overtake until the overtaking line, so Lukey must have gone overtake, legal overtake there, he probably would have forgotten that. But Green Flag Racing here in the P1, Mertz leading, Arnold in second. We got Kieran going around the outside of Samster. That was lovely from Kieran there up into fourth. Of course, he's on those soft tyres, and that's going to have extra grip for a few laps. He's got to make those moves ASAP, Kieran, because otherwise, being on those soft tyres is going to be not ideal for the Aldi drivers. Samster and Matt fighting with each other now, and there's quite a few people losing grip. Charlotte struggling on her hard compounded tyres for now, and Lukey's trying to gain up on her, so that's going to be interesting indeed. Owen, by the way, is going to be out of the overtaking zone if he's not careful, because he's got Kieran chasing him, and he's struggling to close in on his teammate.
Yeah, I was on board with Sam for the restart, trying to follow leads, and Sam actually, in the chicane, he actually briefly overtook Owen White, but had to back out of it, and that meant he got an absolutely terrible run at the last corner, and that meant that he was a second behind coming out of turn one, and that meant Kieran got through. Now Kieran's through on Owen. These soft tyres are working a treat at the moment, but he's got to get his moves done very quickly. Owen's going to keep it around the outside, he'll go side by side, and Kieran is through into third place, but Kieran will not have the blue overtake mode for this lap here, so he may be vulnerable down the pit straight.
Which is why Owen has probably didn't mind about Kieran overtaking him, of course. But Owen's going to have that extra boost then. It's made quite a bit of difference, to be fair, but not that much difference. So maybe he's going to wait just for a little bit as well. So now you can see Owen start to close in. And or Owen might be thinking, right, I know Kieran's tyre is not going to last forever, so I'm just going to hang on just a little bit. But he knows he's got Samster and Matt chasing him down, so Owen may need to get the move done ASAP. But he's already dropping off to Kieran, so he's probably a bit worried. So that's Kieran's gone now for Owen. His target now is to make sure the Aston Martin doesn't overtake it, because that could be a real struggle, by the way. Mert is already pulling away a second out of Arnold already. He is loving those hard compounder tyres.
Yeah, he is, yeah. Sam late on the braking there for Owen, trying to get an undercut on Owen White here, going to the hill, and these two are the closest battle, Samson and Owen White. These hard tyres at the moment aren't working, but I believe they will toward the end of the race. So Owen White has just got to be patient here. He knows it'll come to him later on, because the mediums will drop off and the softs will drop off, but Sam at the moment is looking quite quick, and Sam knows he has to get his move done quickly, because if he wants to finish ahead of Owen White for fourth place, because the mediums, they'll be good for good 4 or 5 laps for sure. But look at how much Owen's gained on Kieran there. Kieran using a lot of his battery early on now. And now Owen White maybe fancying the Samster almost hits the rear of the Red Bull there. These guys are getting very close to contact, but it's great to watch.
It is very great to watch, and as you were saying earlier, Jamie, that's why they're the best of the best. That's why, of course, they're in the P1 tier, and I'm absolutely loving this. Owen Wyatt is definitely going to gain advantage here on those much better hard compounded tyres. Those soft tyres are definitely giving up the ghost for Kieran now, and I'm wondering, is Kieran regretting this, because he's going to have to make it last until the end of this race. Everyone has completed their 2-stop strategy in this race, but we know that Kieran's tyres won't last long. He's got to be careful that he won't get a puncture, does Kieran? But for Owen, he could definitely get to the end of the race. He's on the best tyres possible here. And if he could get past, he could be on for a podium. And look at that. What a move
Kieran's
there.
off.
Kieran's off. And Owen took advantage. And Owen is now up into the podium position. Samster and Matt took advantage as well. Both the Astons up into to 4th and 5th. Kieran, unfortunately, has left the session. That's another disconnect for him in the Audi. And, of course, he's on PC for the first time. So probably having a little bit of grumblings on the PC. He may be back to PlayStation if it is PC keeps crashing, which will be a bit frustrating for him, because he would have rather wanted to race on PC. But because apparently, obviously, console is a lot different compared to PC in terms of handling. But Owen is under pressure now from Samster. So Samster could be on for his first podium in so long, which will be a great story. Even though it's pre-season, it could still count towards the stats. You never know.
Yeah. It won't count towards the stats, but yeah, he'll get it on the sim good results, which will look really good for him. As looking back, this is a great fight between the Red Bull drivers. Samster looks quicker at the moment, I have to say. But it's about getting past. That's the thing he has to do.
And don't forget, Samster has a penalty as well. So there's one thing of actually overtaking someone. You have to pass them and clear 3 seconds. So I think Samster knows that he's got to try and get past Owen and gap 3 seconds. But with this close field in P1 tier with a lot of these drivers, it's going to be easier said than done. And don't forget with Samster, the fact that he hasn't played a game in a while and he's adapted to these new regulations, it's really great to see. I can tell that he's practiced quite a bit in that Aston Martin. I think he's going to adapt very well, as he's had a bit of a moment coming out the hairpin, which allowed Matt to gain more time on entry past into the hairpin. And I thought Matt was going to try and get past Samster, but couldn't quite do so, unfortunately. But yeah, Samster had a bit of a snap into the hairpin.
I wonder if Matt would be asking for Sam, maybe let him through it, because I think Matt maybe get the podium here, but it's pretty much, I think it matters too much. But yeah, Matt hasn't raced in one-up since season 16, which is a long time ago, so he's doing a great job as well. These guys in top tier, to be so close to these, we know how quick Mert is on this game, to be so close to Mert as they have been, this is very impressive on their first race. So I think these two will go. Obviously Sam is learning a wheel yet again, so he's new to a wheel as well, so these two I think will improve as the season progresses now when they get the cobwebs out the way.
I think we've seen that with plenty of other drives from last season. They picked up a wheel and it didn't take them a long time to adapt, which was quite surprising, because we were expecting them to be lower down, but as soon as they adapted to it, they were doing very well, and they're still improving day in, day out as well. So I think with Samster, definitely, especially if you have been on the wheel for a long time as well. But again, it's like learning to drive. Even if you have a little bit of a gap in it, your brain will start to pick up what you've learned, and it'll all become muscle memory now and again. It's like me going back to no traction after being on medium again. As soon as you know the muscle memory of when to pick up the throttle, you start to get used to it again, and that's definitely what Samster is doing. And your muscles will start to become equipped on when to lift as well. You'll start to realise when will be the best time to lift, and your muscle memory will think, right, as soon as I get to that corner, I will start to lift a little bit. But Japan is less battery management dependent. You can save a bit more around here because of the braking zones. You don't have to lift too much, but maybe lifting here will probably be the best option. But Mert still leads.
Matt's going to get through Sam here.
And I think that was an orchestrated move.
Yeah.
Team orders did. They definitely did team orders. They had to do it, because otherwise they were going to lose so much time to the cars behind that are closing. So yes, and Kieran, by the way, has dropped down into 8th place on those soft tyres. Both Charlotte and Lukey have got past them. So yeah, being on those softs, not the best idea.
No, but he could be past Lukey in 7th place, and Kieran, he's had 2 disconnects, but his pace looks really good, and he's going to get through it. Up to Lukey in 7th place. Them softs must be absolute mush at the moment, but he's managing it somehow. Obviously, he's 7 laps. 3 of them were behind the safety car, so it's probably realistic about 5 laps of where they're. So this will be when they go off. But yeah, Kieran's through in 7th place, and he may fancy a run at Charlotte if he can get in that. If he can get into that boost mode. He's got it already from passing Lukey, but now you have to get it again on Charlotte, and maybe Kieran may nab a top 6 in these last 3 or 4 laps if the softs last. That's probably may get a puncture. That may derail the opportunity.
I wish I had the telemetry on, but because of my internet, I had to turn it off. So I would have loved to have seen if Kieran was getting closer and closer in terms of that, but unfortunately we're not going to see that. But it's still possible, you never know, but you've got to play it safe at some point if you know your tyres are going to be puncturing at this stage. And we know, as old Kieran's picked up a penalty, it's not going well for Kieran. Now he's going to try and get past Charlotte, and now he's got to gap 3 seconds, which is easier said than done, unfortunately. A real shame for Kieran, but luckily, as I was saying earlier, pre-season, chance to get rid of the cobwebs, and then he can focus on round 1. Belgium, by the way, he's probably annoyed that Belgium is round 1, because Belgium is one of those tracks where you're going to have to save a lot of battery, and if Kieran can't manage it and be on the right strategy at this stage, he's going to have to practice a lot this week to get it right.
You know what, Jess? I'm dreading middle sector of Spain, of Belgium racing. That I am dreading that prospect. But not to worry about that at the moment. Yeah, we still got 3 laps this race to go.
Yeah, that middle sector. I have to say,
I'm impressed by Arnaud, though. I'm impressed by Arnaud. He's not that far behind Mert, you know. Arnaud has impressed me to be just 1 second outside Arnaud. I think Arnaud is definitely could be a guy who could be fighting for a title here, because Arnaud's pace has been strong in this race. Once he's got by Owen, he's really Arnaud is a guy to look out for this season. I've been very impressed. I'm watching his laps, and they're looking really good. And Matt as well. Matt's not far behind Owen. These two Aston Martin guys, they're only within so yeah, there's a. And Charlotte as well in sixth. Solid job by Charlotte in sixth place. Obviously, this is her first race she won up in the top tier, and she's holding her own. Yeah, she is. I'm quite impressed.
Of course, it'll be hard to judge with these many drivers, but the fact that she's still within 2 seconds of one of the faster drivers is pretty impressive, to say the least, as well. And it shows that girls can do it as well in the top tier, mixing up with the male, which is what we like to see. We want to see, I think, plenty of women now try to race against these males and show that they can do it. And Charlotte has definitely shown that she could do it, and she's doing really well. So I can't wait to see what she could do next week. Meanwhile, Samster and Matt are having a ding-dong fight. They just want to have some fun now. The gap is a little bit too further behind. They can't get past Owen, so they want to have a bit of fun.
No. Yeah, exactly. I don't blame them. Good fight there. And I believe Charlotte is our second female driver who's racing top tier. See, we had Catherine who raced briefly in the top tier a couple of seasons ago. So third, sorry. Our third driver.
Yeah, we had one driver, but I think there was one driver before Catherine, but she only raced like 3 races before she quit. Well, hopefully Charlotte can last longer this time. Catherine did race the first few races in the top tier, but she did struggle and she got dropped down into P2 tier. Hopefully we can get Catherine to race again in One Hub Racing, but unfortunately her time commitments have not helped on this occasion. But maybe next season for Catherine that we can see her racing again in One Hub Racing. But we're just about to start the final lap of this race, and we do have a chasing Arnold, chasing Mert for this one. But let's watch these two Aston Martins. I'm absolutely loving this, by the way. Two best friends. I know it's pre-season, but this is going to be a battle that we want to watch here, as tactically Samster is going to get past Matt, and Matt's going to have that burst of overtake now. This is going to be interesting, to say the least, indeed. Arnold's not going to have the boost as we head towards the final lap, because of course he's not within 1 second. But final lap of the race, I think we obviously know who's going to win and who's going to get the podium, but with the battle for fourth is going to be even more interesting.
So you've got a yellow flag on my screen, but that's just a graphical glitch. There's no yellow flag on track. That's been on since the safety car, I believe. So there is no yellow flags. Don't worry, these guys are not going to get gazillion penalties passing the yellow flags. Like, the only race Matt FNG won, interesting enough, in One Hub Racing was season 12 in Imola, in Monza, and we had a glitch in that game where safety car came out, and for 20 laps the track had a permanent yellow flag. But Matt FNG didn't worry about that. He was leading the race. It was his teammate Samson. That was the one race where Matt FNG, that's his only winning One Hub Racing, and yeah, great to see him back in the league. And yeah, great to see Mert obviously showing his class at the front of the field. But I say again, Arna's not that far behind, you know, and wait till next week when we get Alex, we get Craggy, we get Marco, and a few others. I think the battle of the front's going to be really good next week for Spa.
We're going to be in for an absolute treat. As Kieran, by the way, gets past Lukey on those soft tyres. To be honest, Jamie, I don't know how Kieran's lasting those soft tyres. They're probably absolutely dead. He's doing it. They look absolutely dead, but they're doing well. But by the way, Mert's going to come across the line. It is pre-season, but he's going to kick off in style. He wins the pre-season race. Arnold in a second position, and then we got his teammate Owen White in third. And if it was a real race, the Red Bulls will be absolutely delighted right now. Samster comes across the line in fifth due to the penalty. Actually, no, he's going to drop down to sixth. Charlotte goes
fifth.
into P5, and that just shows if you keep it clean without any penalties, you will be rewarded. So if it was a real race, she would be getting her first points in One Hub Racing. Let's hope it could be translated next week when we head to Belgium. But we didn't have time to go through the rest of the race. But it just goes to show that the whole grid in the top 10 were just so close there, with the exception of a few drivers. But of course, there'll be a few drivers that'll be looking to improve ahead of next week. And I have to say, Mert, if you didn't put him in your shortlist for championship contenders for season 29 now, you better put it in now, because I think Mert is going to be a very strong contender to challenge the likes of Craggy, Marco and Alex.
Yeah, definitely. Them guys are going to be there, and maybe a few others as well. We've not seen a few drivers that they may be up there as well.
Look at Mert, almost a clean sweep.
I know, yeah, he's really dominated the stats. The only we didn't get was pole position, but that was obviously intentional to stab. I
Oh
believe
yeah,
he
he
retired
started.
just to
Yeah,
do
he
that.
started. So he's basically done a last to first. So he didn't get pole. He didn't get cleanest driver. Otherwise, he
But
would have got the Grand Slam. But anyway,
the one,
we'll get your
the
results
one thing,
here.
yeah,
Oh, so we've got
yeah.
Mert, Arnold, Owen, Matt, Charlotte, Samson, Lukey, Kieran, Josh, Dave. There you go. Boom. The results go very quickly on our screen. Jamie, as you were saying.
And well, good job you did, because I didn't get the results on my screen. That's a good job you had them there, because I didn't get them on my screen. But yeah, as I was saying, yeah, good race. I'm a bit gutted though, because I wanted to see what Josh could do at the end of the race. I wanted them two to battle, because I think it could have been a race-long battle between them two. But unfortunately enough, Josh made that mistake. But he admits it. It's his one mistake of the year. And if you want to make a mistake, make sure you do it in the pre-season race.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really matter. And I think he should be proud of his pace though, because
Very
that
impressed.
pace looked really, really strong. And for a guy who raced, well, one race the P3 tier and the rest of the season the P2 tier last season, for him to come on to this top tier and race a guy who finished third in the championship last year with a lot of podium finishes, that is very impressive. And Mert, what he wants to do this season, he wants to get an official race win. That's one thing he's missing off his CV, is a race win. He's got a Constructors' Championship, but now he wants to get a race win. He's got plenty of podiums.
He got P2. He always had P2, didn't he? He always had P2.
Yeah, P2, yeah.
But he never got onto P1. Maybe this season could be the one. It's always been bad luck for Marco and Mert to never either win a race or win a championship. Maybe for Marco, you never know. This could be the championship for him. We got no drive of the days this week because, of course, the vouchers for sim racing setups don't start until round 1. So there's no point doing it now because we don't want to leave sim racing setups out of money. So we are going to be doing the sim racing setup drive of the day as of round 1. Let's have a quick rundown of the calendar to take you through what's going to be a very great season coming up for all 4 tiers, not just P1 but for P4, P3 and P2 as well. So we're starting off, as Jamie was saying, in Belgium. And they did a lot of these tracks coming up. They require a lot of battery management, so good luck to that. This is why we chose this calendar this season. So we've got Belgium on the 16th. Then we have got Bahrain on the 21st. And then we got a week's break after that due to the August bank holiday here in the UK. And that means that people can watch the Netherlands Grand Prix without any clashes. Well, hey, then we got Monza. Then we get head to Madrid for the first time. And speaking from experience, you're going to need a lot of practice, because if you don't put that much practice, it will show. And then we got Silverstone, another circuit where you're going to have to save a bit of battery. Then we got Baku, Imola, Singapore, Netherlands, Austin, Brazil, Mexico, Las Vegas. And then we end at the Qatar Grand Prix. It's more than likely that they won't race in real life, so we'll be racing in season 29 instead. Jamie, any final thoughts? Of course, I'm not going to be here next week, but you will be. What are your thoughts around Belgium next week?
Well, I think it's going to be more the same, really, in terms of the battery, but probably worse, I'm not going to lie, because as you say, middle sector is not going to be much fun for many of the drivers. So I think the real life F1 drivers said they're running F2 power levels through there because they weren't running a battery at all in real life. So I don't know what's going back in the game, but I think the racing should be good. And obviously we see some of these quick drivers return from last season, and I believe we're going to see a really good battle at the front between a few of these guys, and maybe 1 or 2 outliers like Arnaud could be in there, and obviously Josh as well, I think will be up there, and Dave as well. Don't forget Dave. Dave was quick early on, and I believe Owen also got wing damage, so Owen's probably got more pace than what he's shown there. So yeah, the Red Bull boys, I think, interesting enough, I think all the top teams have top driver lineups, which is how our team contract system works. And yeah, they have to keep the seats next year, so they're going to be on their toes a little bit, and I can't wait. And obviously enjoy the next one. Obviously, do sign up if you want to sign up. Do sign up, because we've got multiple spaces across the tiers, and the tiers may change a little bit during the week, during the next couple of weeks, as we sort of jiggle it up a little bit here. But I don't think the top tier will change it too much.
They definitely won't be changing P1. Maybe a couple of drivers, but I think for most of them, I think all of them will stay here because I think we're going to see quite a close grid. So watch out. Of course, I won't be here next week, but we do have a lovely replacement. We have Colin, who used to race in the P1 tier. He's going to be taking my job next week as lead comms alongside Jamie. So you'll hear another Welshman in the commentary box next week whilst I'm away on holiday. So thank you, Jamie, for joining me once again. You will hear Colin and Jamie next week for the P1 tier. Of course, you can catch all the other tiers at 3 p.m. for P4, 4:30 for P3, and 6 p.m. for P2. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next week for round number 1 around Belgium. Good luck for battery management, folks. Goodbye.